dashing through the snow in a one-horse
Welcome back in.
sleigh.
That is Raymond Arroyo singing Christmas tunes. I saw you last night, Raymond, at the Fabulous Patriot Awards. I thought they did a really good job. I also,
Beautiful.
and I'm excited to share this with my youngest son. You have a new book coming out, The Magnificent Mischief of Tad Lincoln. And Tad was, you can tell us on this. I mean, the Lincoln family, obviously very, very sad.
Yeah.
But Tad was the youngest of the Lincoln boys, if I remember correctly, who was living in the White House during the Civil War.
Yeah, you're the big Civil War buff, Clay.
Yes,
you know
that's
that.
right.
Tad was the youngest son of Abraham Lincoln, and I, for years, covered the White House turkey pardon, which people will remember. You see it on TV all the time.
Oh, yeah.
They bring two birds out. Biden will no doubt pardon the bird, or whoever's in the audience. I guess he doesn't know who's pardoning. But assuming he follows protocol, they bring two turkeys out. He pardons one of them, or both of them. I didn't realize what the origins of this were. And years ago, somebody in the Trump White House told me it was JFK or Truman who started the tradition. So I did a deep dive and discovered, no, it was Tad Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln. And the backstory was so moving to me. And it really is about how a child, allowed to be a child and be a boy and knock things over and have mishaps and create mischief, which Tad Lincoln did in the White House. He would hitch a goat to a dining room chair and gallop through the East Room. He dug up the Rose Garden. All of that's in the book. But it really is about how a child has the capacity to save a father in many ways. And it's about how Tad Lincoln was the touchstone of normalcy and joy in a hellscape that Lincoln was living in, literally with a war crowding around him and a child whom he just lost in the White House. It's a story of finding hope in dark places and finding light even where you least expect it, right in your family. And I thought this was a story worth telling and a historic moment that we've lost sight of because people don't realize where that turkey pardon came from.
Well, can you tell us, by the way, when you talk about the turkey pardon, not my brain now always goes to Bill de Blasio with Punxsutawney Phil, the gopher, that he dropped and killed.
Killed him, yeah.
The worst mayor of New York ever killed the gopher for Groundhog Day, and I think it was a metaphor for what he was doing to New York City. I'm just putting that out there. But anyway.
Well, thank goodness Mr. Lincoln had a better track record. I'll tell you the quick story, and the book, The Magnificent Mischief of Tad Lincoln, captures this. And I don't consider these children's books. I consider them family reads because they're written for the whole family to encounter together, and adults will learn as much or more than the kids. But what happened is when Willie, the middle son of Abraham Lincoln, dies in the White House, Tad Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln become inseparable. He takes his son to review the troops. He goes with him to Richmond after the war. Tad sleeps next to his father and watches him give pardons to all these people who come to the White House asking for forgiveness. And he absorbs the lesson. Well, as Christmas approaches, a turkey is brought to the White House. Tad befriends the turkey, puts it on a leash, teaches it tricks, and then Christmas Eve comes, and the White House chef collects Jack the bird and takes him to the kitchen. Tad Lincoln totally freaks out, grabs the turkey, runs upstairs to his father in tears, and begs him to extend a pardon to his bird, to his turkey. And Abraham Lincoln gives his son Tad that pardon. That is the first White House turkey pardon and the beginning of this beautiful national tradition. But, when I've seen it for years, it's kind of a goofy affair. Now you realize the backstory, and it really is a study, and it's an insight into Lincoln's mind. He saw Thanksgiving, which Lincoln put on the calendar, by the way, as a national holiday in 1863, the same year he pardons Tad's turkey. He saw it as a time of forgiveness, mercy to those in your family and community, and leading to a source of unity for the country. Boy, do we need that today, guys. I mean, with
Raymond, totally agree. I'm just wondering, is that the first? Is that the first ever time? I've never heard of somebody having a pet turkey before.
Me neither. No, I didn't either. But apparently, I guess when the poor boy's alone in the house, it was the goat and the turkey that arrived. That was it. So he took what he had and used it. But the fact that he trained the thing, put it on a leash, and by the way, that turkey would continue to live with the Lincolns for another couple of years.
Wow.
kind
You
of
mentioned-
remarkable. But you'll never look at a Thanksgiving turkey in quite the same way. It just helps put. I love origin stories. I mean, and this whole musical adventure I've been on, I dug into all of these Christmas carols and discovered the backstories of them, and it just blew my mind. We totally misunderstand so much of the things that we just take for granted and do.
Give us
by
an
rote.
example of a song that we don't understand that everybody will have heard that we play all the time during Christmas.
Well, the biggest one, the most popular song of Christmas, probably Jingle Bells. How many times have we heard Jingle Bells or sung it ourselves? And you think, oh, this is a happy Christmas song about bells ringing in the snow, right? Wrong. James Lord Pierpont wrote the song. He wrote it in a tavern, guys. And it was in the 1850s. A barmaid attests that he wrote it at a tavern. He was swilling down the rum that they made in Medford, Massachusetts. But here's the deal. When it snowed in Medford, down Main Street, they would drag race sleighs down the middle of town. So, and this guy, James Lord Pierpont, was a notorious skirt chaser. He ran after women no matter where he traveled. When you break the song down, when you realize the context and you look at the lyrics anew, you realize it is really a girl-chasing, drag-racing, drinking song. I'm sorry to report that. That's what it is. So when I went into the studio with Kevin Costner, the guy who arranged The Greatest Showman and Jungle Book and Lion King for Disney, he rearranged all these songs, and we used that research to govern the direction in which we would proceed, both in arrangements and my performance on the album. So our Jingle Bells is a little randy, it's a little bumpy and wild, but it gives new context. And look, it's not all that. There's some tender songs. I Heard the Bells, which was written by Longfellow. He lost his wife just before Christmas. His son came home from the Civil War nearly paralyzed, and he hears bells down the street, and it gives him hope. He finds new life in the hope of those bells and what they promise. And then he wrote this poem, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play. And it goes on and on. But we tried to capture all the emotions of Christmas, but restore these songs to their real context, their real origins. And, it's both carols that have been with us for centuries and even modern classics. Jose Feliciano is on the album with me. We do Feliz Navidad, which he wrote under duress, but he in his mind saw he and his brothers caroling on the shores of Puerto Rico. So I said, Jose, can we do a bossa nova treatment of the song? He agreed to do that. We did it on the album. It's been at the top of Billboard's charts for weeks and weeks. And I'm delighted the audience, they obviously hear something new here and yet something very familiar. And I love that.
We're speaking to Raymond Arroyo about his book, The Magnificent Mischief of Tad Lincoln. And he's also got the album and tour going on. Where can people go to learn more about the tour if they want to see you in person?
Christmas Merry and Bright is the name of the album. The tour is happening. We open in Phoenix on November 25th, Thanksgiving weekend. Then we're in Dallas at the House of Blues. Jose Feliciano is with me there. We go to Tampa, Cleveland. We end the tour, Clay, and you're coming. Buck, you have to come into town for this too. The Raymond Auditorium, December 21st. Jose Feliciano, the big band, and me. And we have special guest stars. Go to RaymondArroyoChristmas.com. RaymondArroyoChristmas.com is the address. I cannot wait to see everybody there.
That sounds fantastic. Can I just we've got all these people now who are going to be going to check out your tour dates and buying your books, but I want to cause some trouble for you, Raymond.
All right, go ahead.
The best and worst Thanksgiving sides. And we're not pulling any punches here.
Okay. The best and worst. I think personally the worst is probably cranberry sauce. I don't like
hang up on him.
Oh, my
Hang up on him.
No, I'm sorry. I like all the stuffing. We have oyster dressing in New Orleans and melitone dressing, odd things you probably don't have elsewhere. So those are my favorite. My favorite's oyster dressing and melitone dressing, which melitone's kind of a squash, a green squash that grows in Bayou country. But I like fresh cranberry sauce, but so often it's that canned thing, and it comes, it looks like a little tower there.
We are losing our cranberry sponsor right now, Clay.
We just endorsed Big Cranberry, and then you just come on and just immediately kneecap us.
I said I loved it. the form of that, the solid gelatin form of that thing, like a little oil barrel there, a red oil barrel, it kind of scares me on the
Raymond, we had just won over Big Cranberry, and then you just totally Tanya Harding our Nancy Kerrigan Cranberry dream here. Just ran right in, hit us right in the kneecap. We're done.
If you put it in the middle of the stuffing, particularly oyster stuffing, I'm sure the cranberry sauce.
No,
I was hoping you were going to
backpedal.
throw. What is the one that they love in the South? Is it green bean casserole? Is the Thanksgiving side that's so popular in the South that doesn't exist anywhere else?
Naughty list. I don't like that damn green bean casserole. No,
I'm very anti green bean, so we're not going to get a green bean sponsorship. I think green beans probably the most overrated of all the vegetable groups. I hate green beans. Like I won't eat them now.
And the Christmas, what do they call that stupid cake? The fruit cake, right? What do you call that?
I also anti fruitcake.
Oh, that stuff is like eating sawdust and grit. I don't know what it is, but it's old. It should never be consumed by human beings. Give that to animals.
Well, if you want to get in the holiday spirit, everybody, check out Raymond's book and check out his tour. The Magnificent Mischief of Tad Lincoln is the book. The album, one more time, Raymond?
Christmas Merry and Bright. Go to RaymondArroyoChristmas.com. All the details are there. Please come see me on the road. We're going to have a good time.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Happy holidays.
Early Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there as we get ready to roll into.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to both of you and everybody listening.